Okay, it's January 18th, 1990, and we're at Grandma Vella's house, and we're going to ask her some questions. Okay, Grandma, the first question is, when you were back living in Malta, Mom talked about you being quarantined. What was that for? Do you remember?
Oh, that's long time. No, we weren't quarantined.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I'll tell you what. I wasn't. It was my mother.
Yeah?
There was what is that have spots in your face?
Measles?
Not, no, it was the other one that very catchy. They don't have it very much. Pox.
Oh, chicken
Not
pox.
chicken pox, the other one
Oh, okay.
that scars the face.
Okay.
Well, there was an epidemic of it. I don't know how long ago. I was only a little girl then.
Okay.
But I think I went over to my grandmother in the other island, in Gozo.
Okay.
I was the oldest one. And my grandmother, my sisters, and my brother got it.
Uh-huh.
See, and they were supposed to go to a place,
Where?
like a hospital in the middle of the water. You have to go there by.
On
It's just
an
a
island?
little. It's like a small island. There's a place like a hospital there.
Mhm.
Like the Herman Kiefer used to be here, remember, for diseases that are catchy.
Okay.
Well, when people come from out of the country, before they transport things, they have to go there for examination.
So did they go there?
And that's the reason my mother stayed downstairs.
Mhm.
She sent me to Gozo.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandmother, no, my mother stayed with my brother and sisters upstairs in the bedroom.
Oh.
And my other grandmother was taking care of the house, and whenever anybody comes, she'd tell them that we all went to Gozo. See, I was the only one that went to Gozo, but they stayed there.
So she
they
hid
were
with
sick.
them upstairs?
So she hid there. Nobody came to investigate. Otherwise, they would have taken him to that place.
Wow.
And keep him there for a while. I mean, it's a protection, for the
Uh-huh.
people. But they were small, and they didn't want to stay by themselves, over there. So she had them. It wasn't very long. I think it was about a week.
You mentioned your grandmother. What was her name? Your grandmother?
Which one?
Not your mother, but your grandmother. Either of them.
Well, my
one
grandmother,
that
one
took
was
care of you.
Marion,
Marion?
and the other one was Carmen.
Oh, like your sisters.
But that's what
okay.
they named after grandmothers.
Oh, what, did one of them live with you?
No, she didn't live with us, but she came there to stay,
Okay, just that one time.
just to go shopping at the store,
Okay.
because my mother couldn't go out to the store.
That's right.
Buy things and cook and all that.
My mom said something about how your grandmother said she would give you anything if you wouldn't go to
Oh,
America.
that's the one. That's my father's
Which
mother.
one?
This is the one that stood with us, too.
Okay, tell me about
My
her.
father, well,
What did she say to you when you were leaving?
When
Did
that
she
we
try
were
to talk
leaving,
you out of
we
it?
went to see her, of course, and we spent the day with her.
Uh-huh.
But she wanted me to stay, because, see, I used to go there all the time. On Friday night, she used to come
Uh-huh.
over to our house and take me to her house with her
Uh-huh.
till Sunday night.
What would you
And
do
then-
at her house?
I had more fun there, because my mother never let me play out with the kids. I was the oldest woman. I had to help at the house.
She never let you play
Clean
with
it
the kids?
well. She never let us, any of us, play outside, because we play together, but not with other people.
Okay. How come?
I don't know, she was like that.
Okay. But your grandmother let you play with the other
But
kids?
my grandmother, next door to her, there was a lady that had 8 kids.
Wow.
Well, they were older and younger than me. I was in the middle of their ages.
Okay.
And I used to play out with them, and that,
Uh-huh.
and I used to have more fun there. And she never made me sweep a floor or dust the furniture or nothing, and my mother used to do that for me. So I had more fun over there.
Uh-huh. What kind of things did you play with the kids? What kind of games do you remember?
Played like, the marbles they play nowadays.
Marbles,
We
yeah.
had with nuts or something.
Uh-huh.
We played hide and go seek, and
Uh-huh.
I wasn't very old, but I was younger than 12.
Uh-huh. Okay, so that was your grandmother, and then when she found out you were going to leave for America, what did she
Well,
say?
she knew that we were preparing to leave,
Uh-huh.
But I guess at the end it hit her more, because the last time we went to see her to her house,
Yeah.
she cried and cried,
Oh.
and she said, "Why don't you stay with me? You're the only one now that I have," because my father has been here for a long time, and her other son, he wasn't very close to her,
Mm-hmm.
the one that just died recently. But I guess, and they took all my break. She had all kinds. My grandmother used to in the old country, everybody does this.
Mm-hmm.
What do they call it? They call it, in English, I forgot what it's called.
What's it called in Maltese?
Well, you wouldn't understand
I
this
know,
from
but I want to
that.
hear it though.
Daughter.
Daughter, okay.
This is something that they give, like here they have you get
Dowry?
a dowry. That's
Okay,
what it is.
okay.
I know there was a word
See, it's
for
pretty
it.
close, okay.
Dowry. Well, in here they have those, we never had showers like here, people
Right.
give you things. It's all the family.
Uh-huh.
So the bride is supposed to have all the linen for the, in fact, my mother did this to me over here too.
Uh-huh.
All the linen and towels and sheets and all these things that you need.
And the mother does it?
Well, the mother of the family, of course.
Okay.
I wasn't.
So did you have one of those?
Malta, nobody works. I mean, the girls don't work. It's the mother.
Okay. So did you have one of those?
Oh yeah, she bought them for me over here,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't have no shower or anything.
Okay.
We didn't know about the showers at that time.
All that. So now
So-
this is Nanu's mother, is that?
This is Nanu's mother.
Okay.
Well, Nana's mother, this is the one that lived. That's what I went to stay with my other grandmother
Okay.
in the island.
Okay.
And, well, there was my mother's brothers, there was 10 of them, living. There were 16 really,
Wow.
but 10 of them were still living. And, they wanted me there. My uncles were still young yet,
Okay.
because, well, they were, my youngest uncle, the one that was here, Salvo, maybe you know Sam,
Mhm.
Uncle Sam. Well, he is the youngest one.
Okay.
He was only 9 years old when I was born,
Okay.
so he was about teenager at that time.
Okay.
And he used to play with me and all that, and I liked that, because it was a lot fussing with me. 'Cause I was
So
the
this is when
youngest
you're
one.
back in Malta?
Yeah,
Okay.
in Gozo I was there.
In Gozo.
And I stayed with them for a while. I stayed there a long time,
Okay.
because after they got well, then she had to recuperate with them and all that, so I stayed there.
So did you ever see your grandmother again after you left for America?
Never,
You never saw her again?
none of them.
Did you write
I
back
had
and
my
forth?
well, they didn't write. See, my grandmother never, she was
didn't?
illiterate, is that what you call
Yeah,
it?
mhm,
Never went to school. I used to write letters for her from my father.
Mm-hmm.
I used to write for her.
Okay. So you never
But,
heard from her again?
We never corresponded or anything, together.
Okay.
But she died as soon, we came here in July of 1920, and she died in Christmas Eve of 1920.
Mm.
On Christmas Eve she died.
When you came to America, Mom said something about Nanu couldn't find you or something? What was,
Couldn't
did
find-
he come ahead
Oh,
of time?
that was when we arrived here.
Yeah.
See, my father
What about
had
that?
just moved because he was living as a roomer with somebody, some people.
In Canada or in America?
No, he came here a year before we came.
Nanu did. Okay.
He was in Canada, but 6 years there, and he came here. When he was here a year, we came.
So you didn't see him
So
for
he was
7
new.
years?
For 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, see, I was 5 and a half when he came. And when I got here ourselves, I was 12 and a half then.
Gee. Now, how come he couldn't find you? What happened?
Well, the reason was that he had just moved. And we were sending the letter. He was living in a room, like roomers.
Mm-hmm.
And he moved from there and had to get a house because we were on the way already. So he had to have a house. And it was hard at that time to get a house.
Mm-hmm.
He had to buy the old furniture in it and everything. Where we were living, I don't think you remember that. You weren't even born yet.
Okay.
And your mother remembered. Oh my goodness,
Bless
she
you.
got a cough.
There we go. So he was rooming with somebody.
He was rooming, and he moved then. And see, when we got there, we sent him a letter to let him know that we are in Ellis Island,
Right.
but he never received the letter
Oh.
because it was on the old address. And there were people that came with us to care of us because my mother was.
So what did you do? Where did you stay?
My mother was all alone with 4 kids, so we had two men that were responsible for us.
Where did you meet them? You mean?
No, these men were friends
Oh, from
of
Malta.
from Malta that came on the same trip with us.
Okay.
But see, father recommended them to her because Malta fathers, priests are like lawyers.
Oh.
They are
okay.
the ones that take care. It was my mother's, your mother.
My mother?
Yeah, I bet you it is.
Hold on just a second.
Came here, yeah,
Right.
because my mother couldn't speak English or nothing. We passed through France and we passed through Italy.
Uh-huh.
They have to talk the language there.
Okay.
Well, anyway, these men, see, they were married. One of them was married, but the other one was single. Well, but they let them out as soon as we got in Ellis Island. See, they kept us there till my father comes and pick us.
Right.
But they, being by themselves, they let them go the next day. So they were looking for my father. They were asking everybody, about my father.
And when they left, where did you guys stay?
Well, we were in Ellis Island. There was like a great big place where they keep the people. Yeah, you go. There's give you the dinner at noontime and in the morning. There's a big cafeteria where you eat. And there was a place where we sleep all beds, like a hospital.
Just for free they let you do that?
Well, while we were there. Yeah, that's on the trip.
Okay.
This goes on the trip. I think it's something like the one I said in Malta, that they keep them there,
Right.
They keep all the people there, they're examined, because my aunt had a boy that had trouble with his eyes, and because his guys were irritated, they kept her there longer.
Okay.
In fact, she left way after us, and we arrived almost at the same time in New York, because a man happens to be on the that boat that crosses you from Staten Island, well, Ellis Island is an island, so you
Right.
go to New York. Well, he met us there, and he says that another family that came with him on the boat. And it happened to be my aunt. He still had all the kids' names, that they were four of us, and it was her.
Wow.
And they got here before we did, and they left Malta later than we did.
So in the meantime, these two men are going out and looking for Nanu. And
Well,
then
they
what
went out to Detroit. They left with, they took the train and came to Detroit. And they were looking for my father, asking people about him, because they didn't know who he was or anybody. And I don't know how was it? And my father also was looking, because he knew we were on the way. He was asking about us. In fact, he came to New York to see, the agency where to go and look for us. But they wouldn't let him there. There's, times to go in and all that. So anyway, there was a bunch of, they used to get like that, group of people, because at that time, Maltese, there wasn't so many, mostly men. There wasn't any
Any women?
families. And the group of people talk, on the middle of a corner of the street or something. You see a bunch of there, 4 or 5 together talking. And this man, this guy asked this guy, about my father, and he says, look over there, that group. He says, I think he's there talking to them. So he went and told him.
And that's where
And
that's
this
where Nanu
was, yeah, and this was about 3 days after, or 4 days after. So we were there. We spent 9 days in Ellis Island. See, we could have been here for 9 days there.
Wow. Now, when you came then Nanu had a place
Then
for you to live?
we met, they took us to a room like a courtroom. And they call your name, and then, my father came.
And that's the first time you saw him in 7 years?
In 10 years.
In
No, in 7 years.
Okay.
7 years.
So then did you go to school then?
Well, then we arrived here instead of, we arrived quite later than usual, because, we're supposed to, because of the time they delayed. We were delayed in Italy, in Rome, for 5 days.
Okay.
We were delayed in Havre. That's the last city of France before we took the boat. Where we took the boat, we were 7 days there.
Okay. So was it too late to start school by the
Well,
time you got
school
here?
was already started. It was in the middle
Okay.
of September,
Uh-huh.
and the school was already under. But who went? He took
You
us.
went anyway,
He
okay.
took us to Holy Trinity Church school, because he thought that being Catholic, you have to be in Catholic school. My father didn't know
You
nothing
didn't know?
about it. He was here only a year. He was just as green as we were, over here, and he was working
Okay.
So,
where did Nanu work?
at Ford's.
Really? What did he do at
But at
Ford's?
that time, I think at that time he was working at another factory. This was after the First World War was over,
Okay.
and people start coming to Detroit. That's why he came here,
Okay.
because Detroit started to make the cars then.
Right.
And he lived in Toronto. There wasn't much work at that time over there. So he came here.
Okay, so he was working at Ford's and your mom was working at home and you guys were going to school.
Hmm
Okay. Did you ever get a job before you were married
Oh,
in
yeah.
America?
But
was the
that
first-
was later on. I was only 12 when I came,
Right. Well,
Then we went to Holy Trinity School,
Mhm.
which was September. We stayed there from September, till Christmas vacation when the school's out. When then that winter was a real hard winter, because they were saying it was in the record. They were like,
Cold, you mean?
yeah, real cold. And we didn't have the clothing that goes with it. The clothing we had was all made by dressmaker, like a spring coat, real thin, and short stockings. We never wore long stockings. We had anklets, like, you know. And everything was summery. And we couldn't, in fact, my sister Carmen, I remember she left. The sister, the old nun, Mother Superior, one time she saw her with that real thin clothes on, and she took her to the convent and gave her a pair of long stockings from hers, black, you know, the sisters were black. And she came home and said, I'm not going to school, I'm not going to Where did you get those things?
Oh, I had them.
Oh, you had, they were rosary at first. You.
So then what was the first job that you had when you got older, before you were married?
Well, I was in the school, but I was older than the other kids because I started late here. In fact, they put me a grade higher than I was 4th grade in Malta, but when I came here, they put me on the 5th.
Okay.
Because the kids my age were, you know, mostly there.
And then what grade did you go up to? Before you
To
quit?
the 8th, that grade school, to the 8th at that time.
Okay.
Nowadays is less, I think, isn't it?
Okay.
So we stayed there.
He's not moving.
Oh, what did we? Put some tea on, Rita.
Okay, I will.
What was it? Let's see. Oh, I was in the 5th, and then when I came to after the Christmas vacation, we didn't go back to that school because it was too far.
Okay.
It was 12 blocks from our house to there. That's almost 2 miles.
Okay.
And we had to go in the morning, come home at noon, go back and come home at Mama, yeah. And there was no cafeteria or nothing. There was no heat. There was stove heat. And did you ever go to stove heat school? And Holy Trinity School had stove heat at that time.
What do you mean by stove heat?
We had a stove in the room.
Oh, and that was all the heat.
Yeah, that's the heat that we had.
Wasn't that how it was on 6th Street?
Well, the houses, yeah, because everything was old, you know.
Uh-huh.
They tore that school later on.
Oh, did they?
And they put
Yeah.
the steam heat later on too
Oh,
first.
yeah.
And then they tore it down.
So you quit it after 8th grade?
Yeah, after 8th, well,
To help
no,
at home?
After 8th grade, I had to go to the continuation high school, they call it continuation school, because I wasn't 16, yeah, I was 16, and I didn't pass to the 10th grade, I had to finish the 10th grade.
Okay.
But if you don't finish the 10th grade, you have to go till you're 17 to school.
Okay.
So I had to
So what did
stay.
you do?
So I went to the school in Cass Technical.
Mm-hmm.
Used to walk from our home, wasn't
Okay.
very long. And,
Until when?
Till I was 17.
Okay.
Then,
So you,
but while I was there, they used to give us work, you know, like Crowley Milner used to have a weekend, you know, on weekends they have a sale, and they
Okay.
hire girls from school, you know,
Okay, so that was your
that-
first job.
the first job.
Okay.
Just taking care of the store, like, they used to call them, what do you call them? Supervisors or something. All we did is look
Okay.
at the ticket.
Okay.
And they write, everything is written by their hands.
Okay.
And if they make a mistake, it's for our favor. We get 10 cents for each mistake we find. Now, if she misses a letter, or if she misses a word, I used to, you know, there was a lady there. And they were hard times too. They wouldn't hire if you're laid off. You're hard to
Right.
get hired again. So there was a lady, she says, if you find any mistake, she says, don't tell them about it. She says, I'll pay you.
Oh, so she paid you extra?
Really? Oh,
Because she should be fired.
Yeah.
And you know, I think she had something wrong, you know, I mean, you know, something, troubles in the family.
Yeah.
And you know, you mistake a lot, you make a lot.
Sure.
And we were anxious to find mistakes to get more money.
Oh,
which was
yeah.
only a dime, but it wasn't that time.
So she paid you extra to
Well, I didn't find much. I never told her after
Okay.
that. My mother says, don't tell her anything. She says, don't do it. you know.
Yeah.
So then after that, did you have any other like
Well,
full-time
that's
jobs?
the kind. And then when I finished from school, then I found a job steady at the school. You don't remember Frank and Cedar, do you? Frank and Cedar store. It was downtown on Woodward. I think they went out of business and
Oh.
some store came
Yeah.
in there. But
It
I
was a
worked.
department store?
I worked there for a few months, steady. You know, at my 6 days a
What'd
week.
you do?
Not selling, and the cashier, and I didn't
Oh, okay.
do cashier, it was somebody else. But I used to wrap the clothes and put them in a bag for the people, because they used to
Okay.
bring them, you know. But that was an extra thing for them. And then after that,
Mhm.
then I got a job at Kearns. Kern store, Kern store. They tore it down not very long
Yeah,
ago.
okay.
But your mother must know Kern.
Oh, I remember Kern.
Is it still there? Because I don't know that side now. I haven't been
I'm
there.
trying to remember if the building is even still there. It's not Kern's, of course, anymore.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
anyway, but I worked there.
Okay.
I worked there for about 3 or 4 months.
What is
No, I worked a short time. But my father wanted to go and see the exhibition in Toronto, I remember.
Mhm.
And we didn't know, see how they're opening up?
Yeah, that's what I
And
smell.
and he didn't know when it was going to open, so we went kind of late. It was
Mhm.
already closing, and they were taking things away. So the next year, he thought it was going to be the same date as the year before. We went too early. So he wanted, there was about 3 or 4 days before it started, so he says he wanted to wait. And they told me, I had already started to work at Kern, and they said that if I don't come back on the 1st of September,
Mhm.
show to work, they won't hire me. She says, be sure you're here by the 1st of September. And my father wanted to stay in Toronto, so I lost my job. I went
Oh.
like this. We told you. I know they told me, but I got an excuse. I says went and my aunt was sick or something. I don't know. I was some kind of a lie, But they wouldn't accept it. So we're sorry. We got somebody else now in your
Yeah.
place. At that time, there was scarce of jobs, very scarce.
Yeah.
And girls are coming from school especially.
Yeah,
And I was so mad because he let me, lose I liked that job a lot.
Yeah.
But, and then a few weeks later, you don't know her either, but she's a cousin of our cousins from her mother's side.
who is she?
It's your Tony, remember?
Yeah.
Sue. And his wife, on his wife's side,
Oh, gosh, no.
her sister,
That's even
she had
just
2
a
girls.
name to me.
And they found me a job at the beach shop. That's what I worked there for.
Oh, yeah.
Till I got married, that I
On
worked
Broadway,
there. On
wasn't
Broadway.
it? Yeah.
And what'd you do
Right
there?
next door to
Same
that
thing?
Parliament show. Is it still there? I think the Parliament was changed twice, the name.
Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah, it
It
wasn't
was
Paramount.
Broadway show at the beginning,
Yeah,
and then turned to
yeah.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know.
so then you worked at this, and then you mentioned about meeting Grandpa. Why don't we change the subject and talk about that? Now, how did you meet Grandpa?
Well, that was at that time when I was working at the beach shop. He was living with us.
Why was
Grandpa.
he living with you?
He was rooming with us.
Oh, he was
That's
rooming.
How
They
that's
always
how
took in roomers.
roomers-
Everybody did.
See, my
Why?
mother had
My
3
uncles lived
brothers,
there.
4 brothers living with her.
Oh.
And
So he was just a stranger that was rooming with you guys.
well, there were
He was
friends.
Maltese though, so he's
Yeah,
hardly a
as
stranger.
long as
Okay.
as long as you know them.
So when did you start?
There was
noticing-
Johnny, my sister's husband, and his brother,
Mhm.
and Andrew. You don't know Andrew.
Okay.
And then there was
See?
Grandpa and 2 other men.
Okay.
You know them either. They're all dead.
And
now.
did you think he was cute?
Huh?
Did you think he was cute?
Well, I
Come
don't know.
on.
Come on, Grandma.
Well, of course I did.
You were
Otherwise,
attracted to him.
I
right.
wouldn't. He was more than I was, though. I
was
was
older.
too dumb, I think.
Well, you were shy of
I
it,
bet
which
that's
women
what it
then
is.
were. You
Uh-huh.
know,
That's
young
what it is.
women.
So did you go out on dates? Didn't you tell me once that you
come
snuck
on.
away?
Going out on dates? Not even when we were engaged, we never went out on dates by ourselves.
Didn't
That
you
was-
say you snuck away once or something?
Snuck away.
With Grandpa? Without your chaperone or something?
Oh, I had a little job. Yeah, this was in between. I had a little job after I got through from Kern. In between, I only worked about a month in there. A shop that sells heads.
Mm-hmm.
She used to, fix them up for you and all that. And I was in the store when she goes to eat or out. I used to stay in the store. And my name is Anthony. She thought I was French. At the time, French people were something. And this lady was coming. She was a French lady. Was telling her, I just got her today. Look at Anthony. Oh, are you French? I said no. I said I told her we passed through Paris and through there. And she thought that I was living there. I think.
So wait, no, so how did you, what is this about with Grandpa though? Did you sneak away on a date with
Well,
him?
no, because he was after me there. That's how we know the things, He doesn't, but then he has to tell your mother and father about you, You don't just go in with a boy like you do nowadays. you meet him and you go, and then after you're engaged, you tell your mother you're going out
So
with
he had to
him.
go ask Nanu and Nana for.
Afterwards, yeah.
But before then, I mean, did he ask you first?
Well, we used to talk and all that, you know.
What did you say?
Well, I never talked about love or anything like that, but
You didn't?
just, you
Well,
know,
he must have asked you to marry
Did
him.
he ask you
didn't
to
he?
marry him?
well, he never did. I don't think he did.
No? He asked your parents, but he didn't ask you.
Did he ever give you a kiss
Oh,
before you were married?
oh well.
You could tell us, Grandma.
Oh,
Sneaking.
we won't tell anybody.
Sneaking.
Did he?
Sneaking.
How? How did he manage
Huh?
that? How did he
Oh,
manage?
well.
Was he still living in the house?
No, then after
He had
we
to
got,
move out.
when we got engaged, he had to move out.
Because then it wasn't proper.
Because that wasn't proper then to live there while you're engaged. Oh, no.
So when did he sneak a
And my gosh,
kiss?
if my mother knows what's going on in this world today,
Oh,
compared,
boy,
I bet you she
don't.
wouldn't have stayed here one month in this country. She would run right back to
But it'd be the
Malta.
same thing in Malta, I'm sure.
Oh, now probably they're doing
Yep.
the same.
So
But,
tell us more about this, Grandma. How did he sneak a kiss from you?
Huh?
How did he sneak a
Oh,
kiss?
sometimes you are, you know, there. And I remember
You
I
remember
used
the
to wash
first
the
time?
floor on my hands and knees, you know, scrub the floor.
Okay, but he wasn't living here at this time, or is this before you
Well,
were
this was
engaged?
before, yeah, before I
Oh,
was
okay.
engaged.
Oh, he snuck a kiss before
Uh-huh.
you were engaged.
Do you remember the
Wow.
first time he kissed you?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't remember? Do you remember the first
Just
time?
a peck. That's a kiss.
Uh-huh, that counts.
That counts,
Yeah.
sure.
Do you remember the first time he told you that he loved you?
Oh, yes, many times.
When? When was the first time?
Many times.
When was the first time?
And we came one time after I left from that store, you know. I remember this lady that I was work with, you know. She got it for me. I think, you know, she thought I was something, you know.
This is the beach.
Not the beach shop. No, this is the head store. Before I went to the beach shop.
Oh, I see, okay.
And I think it was before I started I was going to school yet, I think. I think I was going to school yet at that time. And, you know, when he used to leave me, he used to put his hat for me.
Uh-huh.
Grandpa?
Well, he
Yeah.
would leave you at work? you
When we
mean?
used to walk around before we were
okay,
at noontime,
okay.
we would just talk. There was a garden there.
He would come
on
meet
Trumbo.
you then during your lunch
Meet
break?
me and then, you know, walk around. And one time we're walking, we didn't know where we were going. We almost went by my house.
Oh.
Oh, boy. You'd have been in big trouble.
Yeah, go on. So you-
Well, that's all it was. There was nothing much about it.
But he used to tip his hat when he said goodbye?
Yeah, and that lady thought that it was something, you know.
Uh-huh.
just-
Elegant, huh?
Yeah,
oh boy. So then how long were you engaged before you got married? About
only 5 months.
5
From
months.
September to April.
And then when you got married, the wedding, was it like a big fancy wedding or
Oh, yeah.
small or?
It was a big one.
Oh yeah? How could they afford to pay for it?
Well, those days were cheaper.
Okay.
But today it was a lot of money for being here only 8 years. You
Yeah.
know, we've been here only 8 years when I got married.
Okay. Then did you go on a honeymoon afterwards?
Nah, that's one thing we didn't go.
Didn't do that?
No.
Okay. So where did you live after you got married with
Oh,
Grandpa?
but there was a house across the street from my mother, which is a
You lived across the street from
yes,
your mother?
from my mother, and I'll tell
Oh,
that to
everybody
everybody.
did that.
No, I says, don't go by your mother. My mother was this kind that comes to the house and she wants everything perfect, you know.
Uh-huh.
She used to come to my house, don't do it here, do it here. This is not longer here, just put this in here. Everything. And then when he used to come, he says, your mother was here this morning because I had the rack changed. I put it upstairs from the front room. She says it belongs to the bedroom. It looks more better in the bedroom. And when he came in,
Put it in the dining room.
so she put it there, and when he came from work, he says, "Where's the rug?" I says, "Upstairs." Oh, your mother was here today.
So were you closer with your father than you were with your mother?
Well, both, I guess.
What was Nanu like when he was younger? I knew him only when he was older.
Well,
Did he joke around a lot with you guys, with your kids?
with us, no, not much, but
No.
you know, they're more serious.
What did he like to do? Did he like to fish?
Work mostly.
Okay.
Well, he didn't fish like he was at the cottage.
Uh-huh.
He used to go once in a while fishing, and we used to go for picnics sometimes
Okay.
in like Belial. And well, Belial wasn't black like it is now, anyway. But, And we used to go to not Port Huron, what am I saying? Grosse Pointe. At the end, way at the end, there used to be an interurban car. Did you ever hear that? Interurban. They go outside the city limit.
Okay.
You take a streetcar to that place and it stops and that's the end of the streetcar line. And then you take this interurban car. It's like a train, really.
Okay.
Small though. And you go like in the middle, more further out with it.
Okay. So, now getting back to you and Grandpa, when you were first married, what house did you live in? Do you remember?
Oh, I remember. They tore it down.
Okay.
That house was just like a doll house.
Okay.
It was built on some extra property that there was, 3 houses on the corner. And there was this piece in the middle, and I think she just built a little house there, which was like a half of a house.
So was
But,
Uncle Joe born there?
Uncle Joe?
Joe, my...
Oh, no, he wasn't born there. We had to move after 5 months
Oh.
because the house, well, we got it all fixed up, painted it, and put paper and everything in the house and all that, and we had brand new furniture. And what was it? No, let's see. Oh, the house was sinking on one side. The platform, what do they call the foundation of the house? See, there was no basement in it or nothing. And I guess in those days they didn't make it so good. And it was sinking on one side, and the city wanted her to either straighten.
Okay, now how long were you married before you had Uncle Joe?
Oh,
Not very long?
much.
9 months?
He was born after 14 months, Joe.
Okay.
I got pregnant 5 months after.
Okay. And now let's talk about what year was Joe born about?
29.
29. On the verge of the Depression.
He was born 3 months after the bank crash. Remember when the bank crashed? They mentioned it. A lot of people killed themselves and all that. That's when he was born.
So, how did you, let's hear about now, how did you raise 10 kids during the Depression?
With the grace of God, I think.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I think when I think of it this today with the kids, but see, we didn't have the luxuries you people have, I mean, diapers you throw them away, and the machine. I didn't even have a dryer. I had a washer, but I didn't have a dryer. I had to dry my clothes inside the house. We didn't have a basement where we lived.
Well, you didn't have an automatic washer. You had
I
a
had,
washer.
yeah, I had an automatic, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
not when Joe was around. Not when Joe
Not,
was a baby.
what is it,
Not for
automatic?
any of the babies.
Well, it's electrical, I mean, with the electric, but what do you call it,
A
automatic?
ringer. You didn't
With the
have an
ringer,
automatic,
yeah,
you
with
had
the
a
ringer
ringer,
at that
yeah.
time they were, with the
Okay.
ringer.
Now what, as far as like food and stuff, what are some different kinds of meals that you used to make?
Soups
what?
mostly.
It's soup
Soup?
every day.
You had soup every day?
Didn't we?
Mostly, huh?
It seems like
To
our
fill them
soup
up.
every day, yeah.
And on Sunday we had macaroni. That macaroni was always a Sunday meal, pretty near.
Okay. Did
Once in a while, we had bread pudding. Do you remember that?
Oh,
was
that
in
we
the
had it. Bread pudding, we used to get the
Pudding.
bread. We used to get the bread from the
Wonder
bakery,
Bread, yeah.
from the bakery, and that was a day old bread or maybe 2 days old bread, and it was only a nickel a loaf. So we used to buy a bunch from there, and that's why I used to make the bread pudding because the bread wasn't $1, $1.50 like they sell it now. I wouldn't buy it today to make a bread pudding, but that was. And we used to make that, and boy, did that give you gas.
Oh, I remember that. Everybody
boy.
had gas after that. I remember that so well.
That's why I hate making it. Afterwards, I didn't make it anymore.
It was heavy,
Mm.
really heavy.
Did you ever get to a point where things were so rough that you didn't have enough money to buy food?
No, that was every week.
Okay.
We had to stretch from one end to the other. We really lived poorly, When I think of it now, how did the kids, we never had any sicknesses or nothing.
Mom, I never knew you were poor.
See, no, but at that
You
time.
know?
But now, these kids will feel it if anything happens like that nowadays because you're used to the luxury part. And she thirsty. She wants some milk, maybe.
No, she's, she has some apple juice for her. We're gonna give her that. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Boy.
Oh boy, that's good. Apple.
Apple juice, right.
Apple juice.
So what'd you do, like at Christmas time, how did you have like enough extra money to make Christmas cookies? and
Well, I didn't make any of those things. We had, cookies that Pa used to make, some people tell him, like those, what do you call it, arret, that we made, with the frying and the oil.
We call them uh-ahs.
No, that's not the ahs are the other
Okay,
ones.
different, no.
Ahs are what I used to put in that bag there,
Mhm.
with the sesame seed on them.
Oh, okay.
Those are ahs. The other ones were arret.
Mm.
And remember one time when we got the stove, you almost set it on
Burn the
fire?
house down.
How was that story?
Well, that was, we bought a stove. The stove we left in
It had a
Hayden.
deep well, that's what it was.
A deep well, we're making these arret, but you fry them, really, fry them in oil. And your mother was doing it, the stove was brand new, and I think she spilled some oil.
No, I thought I had turned it off, but
Oh.
instead I had turned it all the way to high.
Yeah, because that was something inside, you couldn't see it, you have to see it
Right.
through the level there.
Right. And evidently it caught on fire. Can I tell this story?
Sure.
Okay. And
Just speak up.
when we discovered it, that it was on fire, Pa quickly covered it and carried it outside, and the whole time he was yelling at me, of course, because he was quite upset. And I was just heartbroken. And I remember
Hollering,
Dolores
you
was
get,
Dolores was with Jim. They were in the living room. Dolores
Oh, were
and Jim,
they
she
there?
was dating him at the time.
were they there? I don't
Yeah,
remember if it was
yeah.
that time.
Or somebody.
Yeah.
I think it was Jim. Anyhow, I went running by crying my head off. This was Christmas Eve, in fact.
Oh,
Yeah,
This was
well,
Christmas
yeah.
Eve, yeah. And I went upstairs and I was just really upset. And I remember after
Well, I know
a
Pa had a
while-
little temper, I don't know.
Oh, well,
He
sure.
never hit
you catch
anybody.
something on fire,
He
naturally.
never hit anybody, but the temper was there.
He came upstairs though and comforted me,
Oh, he
which
did?
was
Grandpa did?
unlike Pa to do that, but he knew how upset I was.
What did
I'll
he say?
never forget that. Just that it was okay,
Oh.
to stop crying, that it was okay. But I just remember that so well.
While we're talking about Christmas, just for the record, could you tell us the watch story again, Mom?
Oh, do you remember giving me a watch for Christmas, a toy watch?
I remember one time Pa bought 2 dolls, one for you and one for Mary, I think, or was it?
Oh, it must have been older. I don't remember.
Oh, not you, it was
Yeah.
Dolores and Alice then, before you were born, I think it was. Because I even hollered at him, because those dolls were expensive for them.
Yeah.
They were,
Remember how much they cost?
I don't know exactly, but at that time $5 is like 20 today or more.
Right.
But he bought these 2 dolls, I remember, and he says, I want to give him something. I said, you see, you hear other people giving things,
Sure.
but we never gave our kids or nothing, but he gave them those. One was the name, I forgot the name, I used to remember it for a long time.
Phyllis? Alice
No.
had a doll named
Alice,
Phyllis.
it was, they had a name to them, it was French dolls.
Oh.
They were expensive dolls.
Mhm.
A real nice face in her, China face. And the other one was a baby doll, I think. One of them was a baby doll, the other one was a standing doll like.
Mm-hmm.
So Grandpa
They-
got those
they-
and then you got
yeah.
mad at him for getting them?
Well, for getting
Spending all that money.
Even when he bought me something for a gift, I used to holler at him. I used to all the time, I guess.
Yeah, but I remember one year under the Christmas tree. We always had a Christmas tree.
Yeah, well, Andrew bought that for us.
Oh, okay.
And he bought a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Most of these old antique things, Andrew was the one that bought them. We never,
Yeah.
those things were expensive to buy, a lot of them.
And he had no family. I mean,
Andrew
we
didn't,
were
and he
his
spent
family,
his
yeah.
money foolishly too.
Well, that to him wasn't
He
foolish.
didn't have a penny when he died.
Yeah,
He didn't have a penny.
yeah. Well, that's okay. He enjoyed spending it. But I remember one Christmas morning, George, Sam, and I got up real early, and we went out there, and my present was wrapped up. And I remember I could feel it. I knew it was a watch.
Mhm.
And it was just a toy watch, but I swear I could hear it ticking.
Did-
I
did-
mean, I must have imagined that it was ticking, but I can
Maybe it was a
remember
bomb.
that so well. Yeah, Christmases were were kind of lean, I guess. I
Yeah.
can't
Okay.
remember.
Do you remember
that
getting an
too well.
orange or something? Didn't you always get an orange, you said?
Mm-mm.
No?
From the school, I think, probably.
Okay.
Oh, you used to get
Emily?
what you call it, now they give it to the black people mostly, the good fellows,
Okay.
you know.
Right, now I remember
They used to sign us
that.
from the school.
I remember
they used
what
to-
we got from Goodfellas.
Yeah.
That was
What was
such a
that?
treat. One of the things they gave us was a little box about this size with hard candies
with
in it.
candy.
And,
and a
that
toy.
was such a treat.
And
they
a
always
toy,
gave us
yeah.
a toy. Yeah, and clothing. I remember we got underwear.
And a dress. You can donate. They ask people to donate dresses or make one,
And shoes, Mom. They used to give
And
us a
the
coupon,
shoes
and then after
to buy-
Christmas you
but-
would take us and buy us
shoes
shoes.
that they weren't the stylish shoes.
Oh, I
Nobody
know
wanted
that, but
to
I
wear.
remember
But
getting
they were
them.
good shoes.
I remember getting them.
And the underwear, remember the underwear
Always a
with
set
the
of
long,
underwear, yeah.
long legs? Nobody wanted them. I used to cut their legs short. Nobody wanted to wear them.
Did you guys ever have to go on welfare or no?
No.
Did they have
I
welfare
could,
then?
yes. And people were after me all the time. Pa didn't want to go. And I'm glad now that we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because he heard from people that welfare money, when you start working again and you make good money, they take it away from you.
It's
They
still
have to
like
pay
that.
it back.
It's still
But
like
it isn't. No, it isn't. That's what they said. That's foolish. I don't know what he
You can't
heard.
get, no, that is true.
You
When
don't
you
have to
get
pay
a
it
job-
back though.
Oh, you don't have to
Grandma
pay
said
back.
you
what
had
Pay
to
back.
back.
That's what it
Oh,
is. But that wasn't true.
No,
Right.
See, and that's
not
what
true.
Pa thought, so
That's what he
we
thought.
get the money free, you spend it freely,
Okay.
and then you have to pay it back later on, and it
Oh.
wasn't true, because
Right.
everybody said, you don't go on the welfare with 8 children, at the time we had only
Right.
8. But we never got a penny from the government.
So you never went on.
And one time during winter time, this was a short time after we came from Malta, I remember the stove went out. They had
The heating stove?
the stove that we had in,
Yeah.
went out, and there was no heat in the house. The man came, the man from the welfare, I think, he came. He came over to check. At the time he used to come and check the people, in the school, if they know that you have a big family, they used to come and check, because there was a lot of people out of work.
Well, they checked to make sure everything
To
was all
make
right.
sure, yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
he
nice.
came in, and the stove just went out. It wasn't supposed to go out, we didn't take care of it, but it happened at a good time, because the man came and saw no fire in the stove, and he thought we were short of coal.
Oh,
That's why we didn't have it on.
Mhm.
And he ordered a ton of coal for us from the
Really?
city.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
That was one time that, but that wouldn't be done on purpose. He just happened to
Right,
fall,
right.
to go out, and it came when the man came there. So he came on the wrong time.
That's kind of
But
neat that they had people
The
check
coal
on
I
you.
used to get, my father used to pay for all the coal I had in there.
Is that
We
right?
lived next door to my mother,
Mhm.
and when you buy coal at Ford, only the employees can buy it, nobody else,
Mhm.
and it was cheaper. My father used to order it for us and dump the coal on the curb. And my mother lived next door to me, so right between our driveways, so we used
Mhm.
to pour it there, and then we bring it in.
Okay, so you just kept the
So-
coal there?
So he used to pay for the coal that we get,
Okay.
because we really couldn't even afford that. That was about $10 a ton,
Mm.
the coal.
Didn't we have it also delivered right into the basement?
No,
Since I
we
can't
used to dump it in the
remember.
basement.
Oh,
The
did we?
boys
Okay.
carry
Oh, I
it
remember helping.
from a
It was
window.
such fun. I
Huh?
remember
What'd you
helping.
do?
It was such fun. Helping
Mess.
carrying the coal.
Mess.
Oh, messy.
Oh, it was messy. We would be all black, but we could climb in the coal, and it was just great fun.
Mom, can you think of any other stories that you wanted Grandma to tell about? We talked about how Nanu couldn't find them when they first came here,
Mhm.
and talked about being quarantined in Malta. Any other stories?
But that quarantine, the mother was ages ago.
Right.
That I just, what I
And
heard,
you had to be, didn't you get taken to somebody else's
Right.
house? Oh,
To my
okay,
grandmother's
that was a
house.
story, yeah.
and the other one, but
Oh, I know a good story. The one about Uncle Joe, my Uncle Joe. That he was dressed like, you had to dress him.
that's on the trip.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Did you
coming on
talk
the
about
trip.
that, no.
No, that's when we were in Ellis Island.
Mm-hmm.
See, there was, he was the only boy in the family with all girls.
Mhm.
So the boys and the girls were in a separate place. He had to go with the men, and we had to go with the women.
Right.
So we went with my mother, but he was only 11 years old. And we happened to have 2 Maltese guys there that they stayed there in Ellis Island. Not the men that took care of us, but these were other. But they were Maltese anyway, so you know, yeah, Maltese they're okay.
Right.
So my mother used to send him with them for about 2 days. I think they were there because then they were sent away. They you know they let them go out because they were single.
They were done.
So this time when there was nobody to go with, so he was scared to go. 11-year-old by himself with other strange people he doesn't know. So we made him into a girl. We put a babushka on
What'd you
him.
do?
We dressed him into my dress, I think, and we snuck. We got
He
him,
was
you know.
11?
He was 11, but he snuck in between us, dressed as a girl. Because otherwise they put him in a boys' room, and he didn't want to go there by himself.
Because they separated the.
Yeah, they
Oh.
separated the men and the women, you know,
Yeah.
from the rooms. It was a great big room, like a hospital, with beds one next to the other. And that's how.
What was your first impression when you first came over here?
No.
Did you see the Statue of Liberty? Were you scared? Or
You
were
know, the
were you
Statue
happy?
of Liberty, we didn't know nothing about this.
Mhm.
But I remember when the boat stopped in the harbor, all the people were going to the, what do you call those holes in the
Portholes.
portholes. Everybody's looking and talking their, no, they were all different languages, you know,
Sure.
people hollering and showing the people where. We saw a statue there, but we didn't know what the
Yeah,
statue
right.
was. I know a lady had a wig. She was curling it, you know, because we're ready to go out now from the boat. She had it on her head like, and she was curling the hair.
Jeez.
With more people.
Oh, Mom, didn't somebody lose something on the boat?
Oh, that's another day. While we were, I think, about 9 days in Ellis Island. And, you know, kids doesn't stay with their mother. They're running around and playing hide and go seek, you know. And people all sitting here and there in benches and all talking their language. You don't know what they're talking about. I remember one Jewish lady right in the hall, people walking back and forth. This lady was kneeling on a chair. She had a book, great big book, like a music, and the letters were like music letters in the Jewish shipping. And she was kneeling on this chair, and 2 little kids next to her kneeling on the floor. And she's, you know, like they talk, you know how they sing, the
Yeah,
Jewish people. And she was saying the prayers,
Their
and she didn't
services,
care for
yeah.
them. And my mother told her, she said, see, those people are saying prayers. She said, you're ashamed to say prayers in front of people. She said, let's go and say the rosary. So we took a corner, went to a corner, and we started saying the rosary by ourselves.
But that doesn't really
Yeah, but she
surprise
was
me.
doing it right in front of the people and everything.
Yeah.
She didn't care. She didn't care.
Oh, that's
And this, the money, this lady lost a ticket. It was some kind of a pass, I think, or whatever. And they're looking all over. They're looking all over, you know, underneath
Oh, she
the
lost her
benches.
ticket. Okay.
Ticket. And my sisters found it, and they didn't know what it was. They were playing with it. This lady is looking. And then my sister went like this, to, oh, yeah, you know, it was, they found it. I think it was.
Okay.
So she gave her 3 cents, brand new pennies.
Oh.
And they were like gold, you know, when they are nice
Yes.
and shiny.
Yes.
And my mother thought they were pounds, you know, English pounds.
Oh.
So she tied them in at the end of a handkerchief, you know, in the corner of a handkerchief, to show to my father. My father started laughing when he opened it. He says, you know what this is? And my mother thought it was something great because she was so happy about 3 cents. She knew the money, but we didn't know it. Every time the man comes, you know, with the wagon, peddling, you know, candy there, we always want to buy candy. We don't know what to give him. So a bunch of change in in our hands. We go like this to him, and he picks whatever. I don't know if he cheated us, but I don't think they did.
Uh-huh.
So he give, you know, he takes whatever it's
Uh-huh.
needed. When you're dumb, you know.
Well, it's just
We're
ignorant.
going.
That's, I'm not dumb. You just didn't know. So were you happy to come to America, or would you rather stay in
well,
Malta? I know you had no
well.
choice, but how were you feeling?
Well,
Were
I
you-
guess you were happy to come, you know, a different country.
Were
Kids
you?
always, yeah, everybody was.
Okay. But you,
My
you
mother
weren't
was
sad to
homesick.
leave Malta?
My mother's the one that felt it when we came here because she was kind of homesick.
She
Did
was
she-
always homesick. I mean, she never got over
Because my mother never
Really?
talked English. She never had,
Yeah.
you know, people that you can talk to. And in those days, Maltese families were not very much in here. You know,
Weren't
there
very
were just mostly men were coming out here. You know,
Okay.
by themselves.
Did she ever go back to Malta?
My mother, no, never.
No.
You know, if it was the time like it is now. See, the airplanes that time, there was no airplane crossing the ocean.
Right.
Since Limburg, when Limburg started, then they started. But in those days they were real expensive too.
Okay.
But look at the difference in time. We made it to Malta in 8 hours from Detroit to Malta.
Flying, she said. Yeah.
Flying. This is flying in one boat, in one airplane.
Which was
Coming here, we left at the end of July and we got here in the middle of September.
Oh my gosh.
Look at the time wasted.
You were on the boat that whole time?
Well, no. On the boat we stayed 2 days longer than we were supposed to, because the boat was overloaded, first of all, and it was an old boat. I think after our voyage, I think they scrapped it,
Uh-huh.
because it was a real old
So
boat.
what now? They overloaded it, so...
Yeah, so it goes slower. It goes slow, but the water was real smooth. We never had rough seas.
Mm-hmm.
We had rough seas in the Mediterranean when we were crossing from Malta to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And that 8 hours from Malta to Sicily in the
Wow.
boat, 8 hours.
Wow.
And it was rough water then. And it was a merchant ship we came on, full of goats and sheep and everything, bah at night. We were under a tent. You know what, they have the oars in the middle? They call them merchant. Now this is 70 years ago, I'm talking, not lately, because now maybe they have them better. But all we had is like a platform from the middle of the boat. And only the kids were sleeping. My mother, and they all stayed up, the grown-ups, I mean. They weren't supposed to take that boat.
Oh.
But my mother, they told her that the boat crossing the ocean was coming at a certain time. And we
Oh.
could make it if we leave now in this boat. This boat was coming from Libya with all these animals on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the sailors on the boat, or the people that were working on the boat, they were singing Santa Lucia. I remember that
Oh,
song
yeah.
because we played it in Franklin School.
Oh, yeah.
Santa Lucia.
Right.
And they were singing in Italian, you know, the words, but the same tone as that.
Huh. So then you took this boat over to Italy.
From Malta to Sicily.
Okay. And then what did
And
you take
then
from
from
Sicily?
Sicily, we kept going up to France.
Mm-hmm.
We had to cross a little channel, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like the train gets on top of a barge, that they call them barge,
Okay,
those
yeah.
things that they carry, and they land you
Anything in here?
they land you
Got anything in here?
in France.
Okay. And then what did you do from France?
And then in France we stayed at that hotel for 5 days,
Oh.
waiting for the boat to come.
How could you afford to pay for a hotel?
Well, everything is paid up. That's done already, you know.
How is it?
You pay the whole amount
Oh, not
before
you
you
paid it
leave.
ahead of time.
Oh, well, he sent us the money, but we pay it
Okay.
before we leave.
Okay.
I think that's the way they
And
pay
that's
it.
included?
Everything is included. It's the whole trip.
Okay.
Everything is the agencies that take care of it.
Guess what we've got?
Oh, did you read the paper that you read the story that Tiffany wrote? That I gave her the story from Malta.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
Uh-uh.
Give it to her. It's in that,
Where is
in
it?
that boat and that drawer here.
Okay, I think Emmy's got a dirty diaper.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
It's right there in the corner there, I think.
Right here.
Is that it?
No, that's not it.
No, it's in the back there.
Tiffany wrote a story?
Tiffany, she wanted the story of somebody that came from Europe. She says, Grandma, do you remember the story you came from Malta? And I told her this on the telephone now.
Oh.
But I missed one part in there. She didn't mention friends at all in there. Look how nice writing it is. This is
She read
serious.
nicely.
Yeah.
I told her. I thought she did an excellent job on that.
Let's see.
She got
they
an
took
A.
a boat from Malta to Italy, which took 8 hours. Then they took a lot of trains when they were in Italy. The trains were packed with people because the war was ending.
Yeah, because again, there was a lot of people traveling like they are today. You know, after the Second World War was
Right.
over, a lot of people were traveling around, and that's the same.
So from France, after you stayed in the hotel at France, then you got in a boat and crossed.
And we
What's
got the
that
big
for?
boat to cross the ocean.
Let's change
And how long
Emmy's
did you have to
diaper.
stay there in that boat?
On that boat,
How long did it take?
it was supposed to be 5 days, but we stayed 7 days.
Okay.
for
Why did you have
Emily.
to stay 7 days?
Because
For my
it,
Emily.
I told you it was overloaded, and it
Okay.
didn't run very fast. You know,
Oh,
it's an old
so that's
boat.
it. So once I get okay.
That's the reason it.
Okay.
What have you got there?
Wow.
A rolling pin.
There goes the
A
battery.
rolling pin.
Okay, we'll pause.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Grandma. Now I want you to say some things in Maltese, like say
Finty,
kafinti. What does that mean?
Finty, how are you?
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows that.
Say hello, Rita. How are you today?
Well, hello, hello, it's the same.
Oh, is it?
Hello, Rita.
Gefinti. Okay. All right, count to 10 in Maltese.
1
Just in.
واحد اثنين ثلاثة أربعة خمسة ستة سبعة ثمانية تسعة 10.
Wow, okay. All right, say,
Italian, you want Italian?
oh, okay,
Uno,
sure.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Very good. Can you, do you know how to say like the Hail Mary in Maltese?
Oh yes, I say it all the time.
In Maltese? I thought you
Oh
said
yeah,
it in English.
I still say it in Maltese and in English.
Can I hear it
Half
in
and half.
Maltese?
Hail Mary,
Just say the whole thing straight in Maltese.
you mean the Our Father first.
Okay, go
Our
ahead.
Father.
In Maltese.
بسرنا لينت في اسموية تتقدس اسمك تجي سلطنتك كل ترتين كيف في السماء أجد في الأرض. And then give us this day. I'll see if I can get it back.
Soup? Yeah. Ooh, soup.
Isn't that funny? I can start it now.
Then you have to start it over again, right?
بسرنا لينت في اسموية تتقدس اسمك تجي سلطنتك كل ترتين كيف في السماء أجد في الأرض. خبزنا تاكل يوم أعطينا اللوم أحفرنا ذنوبيتنا كيف احنا نحفر كل منو أعطي علينا للدح كل منو خالي علينا للدح مش بالتجريد ازدهلسنا من كل دين يمنا. When I say it blah 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 I can say it.
Wow.
I can pick up the hoops I got.
Huh?
The hoops. Give us this day our daily bread. I caught
Yeah.
that. But you know, I'm not.
Hobsna.
Okay.
That's give us. See, it's the Maltese and English are twisted around, so you can't get the words as they
Right,
come
it's
out.
reversed.
It's like
Yeah.
reversed. You have to change them
A
around.
lot of,
Like.
yeah, a lot of languages are that
Mhm.
way. Yeah.
Boy, that sounds so cool.
I'm not used to hearing you say it. I've never hear it in Maltese.
And we say it so fast that most of it we don't say, I bet. Because my father used to tell me, he says, how is it when you say it in English, it's so long, and when you say it in Maltese, blah, blah, and it's done. Because we cut a lot of it off.
Yeah, yeah.
And in English we say the whole thing.
Okay.
You know, we don't miss any of it.
How about the Hail Mary in Maltese?
سليمة عليك ماريا بالجراتس مملية السنيور مياك مبركنت بوسط النسا امبيرك الفروتا الجفتيك جسو. Now, قديسة مريم ملا اطلب علينا متنبين إسا بالسية الموتانا من.
Wow.
Gloria,
Uh-huh.
el Mesías Leben o el Espíritu Santo. كيف يكون؟ wait a minute. And I'm Gloria, Gloria, Gloria. Mesías Leben o el Espíritu Santo. كيف يكون؟ Isn't that funny?
It's hard to do it when you're
No, I
young.
know. I know what you mean, though.
Because I'm thinking of it now.
Yeah.
If I say, let's say, Gloria, Gloria. See, in English it's much easier for me now than I can say the
Because you don't
Maltese.
do it in Maltese as
Is
much.
it? Is it funny?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting away from it. I should keep saying it in Maltese because I'm going to get out of it. Gloria be to the Father. Gloria il Mesías Leben o Espíritu Santo que bedu essa It's funny though.
It
I'm
is
not
hard when you do it
forgetting
that
it
way.
because I'm not saying that too much.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to say it in English. Sometimes I start in Maltese and then I turn to the English when I say the Our Father and because it's easier for me.
Right. Boy, that really sounded neat, though. Is that
Our
I
Father.
wonder which is harder to learn, Maltese or English.
Oh, it's harder for Maltese.
Is it? Yeah.
See, English you can catch it very easily.
Mm-hmm.
But some words, it's a tongue twister for people. They don't say
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah, it is. That sounds difficult.
And there is some words that you have to say it from your throat.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say it out right. And that's the accent.
Mm-hmm.
The accent in the word.
Now, of your 10 kids, which one when they were little gave you the toughest time? Who was the most troublemaker?
Joe.
Oh, really?
Really? Oh, I thought you were going to say George.
No, well, George was in his way. You know, George got lost many times.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, from
Yeah, I remember
but-
George getting lost.
He would
See,
just
George
get
had
lost?
different
well, he
problems.
went with a boy after school to his house, and then when he came home, he instead of going one way, he went the other way, and we didn't know that see, George and Sam was so close together, they were like twins.
Mm-hmm.
And their clothes were almost the same color too. I used to
Okay.
dress them almost alike. And I was seeing Sam there all the time, playing. And I thought it was George with him. I didn't know until it started to get dark. when they're coming to eat inside, I says, "Where is George?" "Oh, he's not here. We're looking all over for him. I think you were a baby at that time."
Yeah.
And you know where he went from? You know where they found him? By Sears and Roebuck of Grand River
On Oakman.
on Oakman.
Yeah.
He was standing there and looking around after he walked.
you
Now,
imagine
now
that he walked
he couldn't
that far?
realize that he never walked that much from the school to the house.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was going wrong. Why did he change? His mind was not working.
Now Joe gave you the most trouble. What did he do? What was
Well, he was a troublemaker. When they tell me things now,
like what?
Like, see, we have a room upstairs that was a junk room. It was more like an attic. He had all his machine things and tools and stuff. He was always tinkering around with electricals and stuff.
He
And
and Nunu.
Nunu was the one, but Nunu used to tell him what to do, and then, he tried it. And he tried something, I don't know, it was exploding upstairs. I was in the kitchen, I hear boom, like that. And I ran to the hall, because he was upstairs, right above the steps. And I says, "What happened?" It's all right, nothing happened. But now they're telling me the stories. Later on in life, he was telling us. One time he was explaining what he did, why even the car, one time they took Pa's car and I didn't know,
Right.
because Pa didn't want to take the car to work with him.
Uh-huh.
They
So
took
he
his
take
car? Joe did?
Joe did.
Joe and Louie.
To
And-
go where?
And they didn't have no,
To go for a short ride.
I know, he didn't have any
He didn't have
ticket,
license or
or
anything,
anything.
no.
And the police came over, I remember.
How'd they get punished? What was the
Well,
punishment?
Pa didn't know about this.
Oh, he
No,
never found
He's
out?
telling me, I heard this after they're both married and we were talking about it in the car.
But
So-
didn't the police come to the door?
He came to the door and told me that who this car belonged to. He thought that they stole the car.
Oh.
And I told him that was his father's car, but I don't know where they went with it.
How did you punish your kids when they did something bad? What was their punishment?
Hit them.
With your hand or with a paddle? Or
I didn't hit them. Pa did.
Grandpa did the disciplining?
Or take the belt, showed them the belt, but he never hit them with the belt.
Okay.
Just to
Just
scare
showing
them.
them.
Oh, you just showed them.
Yes.
Okay. So so that was Grandpa's job, was to do the disciplining then?
Well, I never hit the kids. I can't even.
Now, what was I gonna say? Oh, who was the easiest? Who gave you the least amount of trouble?
The
Who was-
girls were okay.
All of the girls?
But they had to be doing what we tell them, You don't go there, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do anything bad that you could say
No,
now?
but I can remember when I first started going out with boys, Pa probably would not have approved. And I remember he used to work Friday night because he